Welcome to session number 1. So today we're going to deal with some really crucial, the basic bottom grammar of drawing for me, the use of line, but also the use of how do you hold a tool and how do you move your arm, which is crucial. It's like if you were a dancer, how do you move your body? If you're a writer, how do you expand your vocabulary? So the first thing to remember is we're not writing a letter, we're drawing. Okay, so you don't want to necessarily always hold your tool this way, because if you do, you're cramping your elbow and you're cramping your wrist and you're just doing this. What I want you to be able to do is actually have fluidity so that you can move your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder independently. We are all built that our arms go very easily straight up and down. Horizontally, because of the ball joint, it tends to arc on the horizon. So it's harder to do this. I would practice as you're walking around, just going straight up and down, going across, and just see how it feels like. How can you hold that? On a small piece of paper, it's easier. If you were working on much bigger, obviously it's going to be harder to do this freehand. But so we're going to use this to see how good our eye-hand coordination is, and also just to get used to it. So again, I often hold it just like this so that I can have turn my wrist. And many ways you can hold it like this and do that, but then it gets more awkward to turn. So again, straight up and down, pretty straight. Across, I can still do it pretty straight because I'm being conscious of it, but any further, it's going to start to arc. What I want us to do is to take a piece of paper. I'm just using these kind of sketchbook papers. You know, if you have printing paper, you can use that. It's all fine. Whatever, I know it's not so easy to get anything now. The important thing is to actually just do it. So what I want us to do is to take your tool and bisect the page. Then practice bisecting it again and trying to see how straight you can do it. See what the difference is if you do it really close, a little bit further, and if you're really extending your arm. How does it feel differently in your arm? These are really valuable things to imprint in your brain. All this is about getting memory muscle reflex. So I want you to slowly build up a grid that's really tight. Now this is just charcoal, so it's a little easier for you to see. But as you go along, then slow down and see, okay, how close can I do this without hitting the other line? You know, and then that one's wobbly, so then I'm going to try to actually follow that wobble so that I start to get used to it, and maybe roll your finger a little. The other thing is your pinky. You can use that to kind of just grace the page a little so that you can feel it, and then you can put more or less pressure down. So this grid is something that after the Renaissance, they would go out with actually a piece of glass with a grid on it and look to see where things were. I remember as a kid, I made a grid on a window in my bedroom where I was looking for UFOs, and I'm convinced, so if I painted this grid and I just sat there, I waited for a light to move. And then I remember one night I saw this light come down and I was convinced, and I still have the greatest mother ever, and she drove me for hours or more looking for until I was convinced I found where this came down. But so the point of that is I can still remember that room. I had that window. Room was 8 by 10 feet, right? So 8 feet this way, 10 feet this way, so it was a little bit bigger. There was a big door here. Not so much, nothing. There was kind of a generic thing, and I had one dresser that I painted some eyes on. I got rid of all my furniture by the time I was in high school, so I could just paint in there. But so we can actually use these lines afterwards to start understanding, and that's what we're really going to deal with in lesson number 2, which is a lot more complex, but it's also a lot of fun. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor, just practice this. Really start to feel, go slow, go fast, see what the difference is. Go heavy, go light, see how light you can touch it, see how dark you can touch it. These basic things we're going to keep building on in the next few classes. So have a good time till then and stay safe. Thank you.